the thing that kind of drove me to end up working in this industry was my own daughter's sleep. She was just a baby. She woke a lot at night, she breastfed to sleep, she took short naps.
I am here with the lovely Kristina Hall of Bright Little Star Sleep, and it is my absolute pleasure to talk to her today about how she went from being a mum, and a wonderful mum at that, to now a still wonderful mum, but also having a thriving and fabulous sleep coaching business. So welcome, Kristina. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay.
Oh, it's great to see you. So can you just start us off by walking us through your journey to becoming a holistic sleep coach? Tell us what that looked like for you.
So I started with no experience in infant sleep or business. My background is nothing to do with this. I studied politics, so kind of quite far away from where I ended up. I moved over to the Netherlands in 2020, so mid-pandemic, left my job in the UK, and it was obviously a difficult time to be looking for a job in a new country. I decided to take that time to take some time off, have my daughter, and think about what I really wanted to do. And I was quite fortunate that I had the luxury of being able to do that and take that time to, really think about what I wanted to do. I guess the thing that kind of drove me to end up working in this industry was my own daughter's sleep, which is I think fairly common motivation for people who end up doing sleep consulting. She, looking back now, she slept quite normally. I thought it was terrible, and I thought she was an awful sleeper and hated sleep, but she was just a baby. She woke a lot at night, she breastfed to sleep, she took short naps, like all things that are really normal. But that we've been conditioned by society, by whoever, to believe are problematic. I really believed that and was told that I'd be hurting her if she didn't get good sleep and all that rubbish, and just ended up in a very big spiral of anxiety about her sleep. I found that kind of whenever I sought help for it, all the advice I was given didn't really align with how I wanted to parent, didn't feel right, and I was kind of left feeling like there was nothing I could do to improve things if I wasn't willing to go down the traditional sleep training route. And I didn't do that, but then I ended up feeling really guilty that I was hurting her because I was choosing not to sleep train. And really coming out of that and coming out the other side, I got more and more angry that there wasn't the support accessible to me that I needed, and I wanted to provide that support for other parents, and provide that alternative.
And so you ended up thinking, oh, did you just wake up one day and think, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into sleep? Or what was the kind of evolution of that thought process? How did you get from, wow, this was really tough and also in hindsight kind of normal, but I wish I'd had somebody to be able to bounce that around with and normalize it and feel reassured? And how did you get to the point of thinking, actually, I want to be that person for other people?
I think, well, I can't remember how it was, but by chance I came across a handful of holistic sleep coaches on Instagram. At some point towards the end of her first year, it's all a blur, to be honest.
Sleep deprivation does that, doesn't it?
It was enough to sort of, I guess, change my mindset and make me feel more validated that I didn't need to feel guilty for responding to her. And again, as I then went on kind of absorbing more of that information and the stuff that I wanted to see and aligned with me more, and blocking out more of the stuff that didn't align with me, I kind of started reading more and more around infant sleep, and kind of had playing with the idea of becoming a sleep coach, but I thought it was one of those like pipe dreams in the back of your head, like, oh, it'd be nice to do that one day, but that's not going to happen, is it? And then, I don't know, a moment of motivation, decided to look up where some of these sleep coaches that I was following on Instagram studied, and found the holistic sleep coaching program.
And the rest, as they say, is history. But I was just going to ask you a little bit about how did you, when you were looking into the program and you were thinking about your own parenting journey and your own sleep philosophy, was it important to you that the two values kind of aligned? And were you specifically looking for that in an education program around sleep?
100%. I don't think I'd be able to work with other parents, I guess, if I'd studied on a course that didn't really fully align with me and my parenting values as well. I actually looked around at a few different certification programs. I wanted to make sure I chose the one that was the right fit for me and wasn't just the most knowledge, I guess. And yeah, really set me up that I felt confident and had the knowledge and the support to get a business off the ground, and that aligned with how I wanted to do things.
Absolutely.
I kind of ended up landing on this one because it is the most comprehensive course available, and I really respected a lot of people who had done the program. They were accounts I'd followed on Instagram and thought, actually, I really agree with what they're saying, and they've studied with this course, so must be good. I was following yourself, Lindsay, and thought, you know what, yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
You.
And it was fully backed. I liked that it was very evidence-based and I could find the whys as well. I didn't want to just be told this is how we do things, this is how it works, because I'm always digging for, but why does it work like that? And I wanted to be armed with that knowledge and that backing so that I felt more confident when clients come to me and say, yeah, but why?
Yeah, absolutely. That's about authenticity, isn't it? And you have to believe in what you're suggesting to other people, don't you? Otherwise it lacks that kind of credibility and trustworthiness, doesn't it? That's amazing. So did you try anything? Did you try any sleep strategies with your own daughter, or did you just kind of let it ride and come out the other side eventually? How did that play out?
Oh, it was a long and messy experience. I'll try and condense a little bit. So things were just really different. I had a really rough pregnancy, a rough birth, a very brief, but she was in the NICU for a little bit when she was born. So things started quite rough, and I was already kind of doubting myself and doubting my role as a mother and my ability to respond to her and give her what she needs. So when I was being told by the health visitor clinic that I was visiting, you need to do this, or they heard that she was falling asleep on me for naps and I was told, no, this is actually going to be damaging her, it's a bad habit, I was very much I internalized that and thought, yeah, it's a really bad habit, I'm going to really hurt her, this is awful. And it really played off postpartum anxiety that I was already struggling with and was horrendous. They referred us to a sleep consultant that we didn't ask for, who told us at 2 or 3 months, avoid eye contact, she has to have her naps in the cot, give her a chance to settle herself. I realized it wasn't going to work, but it still filled me with guilt whenever I was making eye contact with her or having contact naps. And I feel like looking back, I didn't enjoy those times because I was so worried that I was doing something wrong when I was doing what instinctually felt right for me. She was actually a pretty good sleeper at night to begin with. We got quite lucky. For the first couple of months, the nights were quite good. We were just told that the naps were a problem. At about 4 months, things went downhill because 4 months. And we were basically just on survival. We didn't really do any interventions or anything. My husband and I were just tag teaming, taking turns to hold her all night. We were referred to another sleep consultant who we were told would be gentle. And she told us that our daughter was obviously severely sleep deprived because she was waking up a lot at night, and that we needed to help her catch up on sleep first by doing lots of contact naps to get her that sleep, but then we needed to teach her how to self-soothe, and needed to do sort of cry it out or time check-ins or whatever. And I really didn't want to do that. So I started reading about what I could do to support her. I was very like religiously trying to follow wake windows and stuff, because I thought that that was the middle ground. I thought, well, then I don't have to do sleep training, but if I get the wake window right, then she's going to sleep. It didn't work. Just led to a lot of anxiety on my part if things weren't right. Like we tried drowsy but awake and tried to put her down in a cot for naps, try and transfer her when she was asleep. None of that worked. So we just kind of surrendered to it, I guess, and got more and more sleep deprived. It got to the...
Do you feel like you see clients now that remind you of yourself?
Oh, so much. And it's so hard because I remember being there, and that sheer panic in myself if my daughter was awake for 3 hours, but the wake window for her age should be 2 hours. And it completely breaks my heart, but I think it helps me to empathize and helps me to support them more because I've completely been there.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. So is there anything that you've learned on the program that you feel like is a tangible thing, a tangible kind of strategy that you take with you into seeing clients like you and like so many hundreds of parents out there that are struggling with this stuff?
I think the main thing that I take with most of my clients, all of my clients, is to really just break things down into really small, manageable chunks. There may be a big overarching goal, whether that's stopping feeding to sleep or having baby sleeping in their own bed instead of bed sharing or getting naps in the cot, but they can feel overwhelmingly like too much to manage in one go. And as coming from the perspective of a parent as well who had those big goals, it's a lot, and it's thinking I'm never going to get there, nothing's ever going to improve, it's too big of a step, I guess. Really breaking it down, starting with the quick wins and trying to optimize some of the smaller stuff like getting sleep hygiene nailed down, having a look at timings, and getting kind of calming bedtime routines and stuff like that. I've seen clients have massive success just with making those really small changes, which don't take a lot to implement, but can really help.
Yeah, it's that really in-depth understanding of sleep biology, isn't it? Rather than pseudoscience around wake windows, which, you know, we could talk about wake windows all day, couldn't we? But we're not here to talk about wake windows. If they work for you, great. But yeah, I think what we find, isn't it, is that actually they often cause anxiety, and what's more helpful is drilling into the sleep biology and using that to create these kind of manageable step-by-step plans which feel achievable then for exhausted families, don't they?
And also doing whatever you can to optimize the parents' rest, and even if it's not sleep, rest. And it's the whole thing about co-regulation, right? A stressed parent is not going to be as able to calm down a stressed child. And I definitely got stuck in that cycle a lot with my daughter, of me getting stressed that she wasn't sleeping, and then she could feel that tension and she wasn't going to relax and fall asleep because it didn't feel calm and safe for her. So that's a hard one to discuss when working with clients, and it's kind of a fine balance of
definitely
but
it's about learning how to have those kind of therapeutic conversations, and, you know, developing a rapport with a client so that you can have these really vulnerable, honest, transformative conversations without them feeling like, oh great, that's another thing I'm doing wrong then. You know, that's a real art and a skill in itself, isn't it? Sort of being able to translate that science into something that is really kind of nurturing and supportive for a family, because, you know, co-regulation is important, but it starts with kind of that co-regulating relationship between client and sleep coach, doesn't it? Anyway,
I think it helps as well that I've been there, and I'm not saying, oh well, I'm a perfect parent, I was always really calm with my daughter and she sleeps perfectly, because I was stuck in that cycle of anxiety and playing off each other for months.
Oh, aren't we all? It's on that sense, it's so relatable, isn't it? You know, we've absolutely all been the stressed parent going, oh my gosh, will you just go to sleep? What am I doing wrong? But actually being able to unpick that and really get into those fine details in a way that transforms a family. That's not even just about sleep then, is it? It actually improves not only sleep, but it improves the relationship, and it improves the parents' self-esteem and their confidence. What strikes me a lot when you're talking is, you know, what keeps coming back is how crushed you felt as a parent, and how silly you felt, and that you were doing everything wrong and it was all your fault, when actually part of the journey sounds like it's been discovering that actually you weren't getting it all wrong at all, and you wish you'd had somebody to walk you to that place earlier, so that you didn't feel like you spent most of the first year getting it all wrong. You were actually kind of nailing it, to be honest.
100%. And it makes me feel so like warm inside when a client says to me that I've given them some confidence, or they feel a lot better about how things are going and how they're managing things, because that's what I want. I want them to be able to come away from after working with me and feel like they can handle it going forward as well. It's not
the best thing, isn't it? Because then it's like it's a life skill, it's a parenting skill. It's not just, well done, we've ticked that sleep goal. We've actually done something a bit more than that. So amazing job. What have you learned on the program, do you think, that what did you enjoy the most, or what do you think you come back to again and again? Is there anything that kind of jumps out as being a sort of standout piece of learning?
There's so much. That's a good question. I feel like it's gonna be a bit of a cop-out answer. Okay. Like all of it, and the fact that the program has such a wide range of topics, that brings me back to remembering that there are really so many factors that impact sleep, and it's not just a case of you nail the timing and everything will be okay. So that's something that I find myself going back to, just looking over the breadth of knowledge that the course has available and has taught me, and realizing actually there's so many factors that need to be considered, and lots to play about with.
It's not a cop-out answer at all, because actually what you're saying essentially is there's no one thing that is the key. It's understanding health and development and co-parenting and mental health and sensory need. All of it's important. How can you pick up one thing? So I don't think that's a cop-out answer at all. Do you think there's been a big mindset shift for you, not just getting over a sense of feeling like an incompetent parent, but do you feel like there's been a business mindset shift that you've had to get over? And if so, what is that?
100%. I mean, from the conversation about my parenting, it kind of, that lack of confidence was following me into setting up my own business massively, and very much imposter syndrome of, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to help people. Again, as it is with looking at sleep with kind of parents and looking at the little one's sleep, looking at the big end goal of I want to have a business was so overwhelming that I didn't really know where to begin, and kind of ended up catastrophizing in my head of, I'm never going to get that sorted, I'm never going to set up. But actually breaking it all down gave me more of a confidence boost, because I could take little steps, like, okay, now I've registered the business and I've done the practical side of things, and then I set up an Instagram and started posting things on there, and started to kind of solidify my knowledge in my head, and then started seeing clients. So taking it step by step like that, I guess, has gradually changed the mindset from I have no idea how to do this to it's possible.
And what does your business look like for you now? Have you got it to a place that you feel comfortable, you've got some balance, you can juggle being a mum and see clients? How does that all play out for you?
Yeah, so it's kind of, it grew quicker than I was anticipating it. I was able to study completely around my daughter being at home. She only started childcare in February this year. So I started studying kind of the last back end of 2022, and completed the course around her at home. And I was, yeah, very pleased I was able to do that. She's come along to a lot of the coaching calls with me.
She has.
And able to, yeah, get some studying done around her while she naps, which was great. I launched my business in January, started off working weekends and seeing clients sort of on the weekends, and realised that the work-life balance was not working out well for me. Since my daughter started childcare, I've managed to find a bit more of a balance and schedule my time and work during the week on the 2 days a week that she's at childcare, and then the rest of the time I've got with her. I know that I can increase the time that I spend on the business as, like, where are my words? I've lost my words.
When you're
as
ready,
she increases,
like,
yeah, and
yeah.
as she increases her time in childcare,
Yeah.
I've got the capacity to expand and choose my own hours, really, and decide if I decide I wanted to take a step back. Like, we did a lot of traveling a couple of months ago, and I decided not to take on clients at that time, because then I could focus on my family and spending the time with them then. And I was able to do that. And that's, I guess, one of the nicest parts of having your own business and working for yourself, that you can just take the time off like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can kind of make it work for you, can't you?
But work-life balance is still something that I have to reevaluate, like, every week, because I am a bit of a nightmare for working all evening and weekends. So it's something that I'm still working on, but that I'm very aware that I have to work on.
Yeah. No, it's a journey, isn't it? I think that's one of the biggest things that you have to learn how to do when you're self-employed, isn't it? Is to be kind to yourself with your working hours. But you know, we're all on a journey with that one. How important has the kind of lifetime access and ongoing support been for you? Does that is that a factor in the growth of your business and how you're able to support your clients?
Oh, it's been, like, crucial for me. I think I really have appreciated being able to go to coaching calls and bounce ideas around, in terms of, like, the community as well, having that Facebook community. There's always options for more support if you want to go and get it. And yeah, it's a huge part of how I run my business. I get so many different perspectives and experiences through the community, through yourself. It's, yeah, I love that, like, the coaching calls and the Facebook community is accessible for everyone as well, and, like, it's not sorted by cohort, so you can benefit from the knowledge and experience of people at all different stages of their career. And I found that that's really helped me as well, because you can post a question and get advice from people that have been working in the field for 20 years, but then also get the fresh perspectives of people that are just coming in. And yeah, I find it really helpful, and I think that it can really improve everyone's business and knowledge to have that wide breadth of experiences and opinions out there.
Yeah. Oh, I love the coaching calls, and you really committed to coming to a lot of the coaching calls, which has been lovely. And yes, your daughter is a regular and very, very welcome participant. Lots of littles come to those coaching calls. Actually, we you know, obviously it's a family friendly thing to do, isn't it? And we never mind nursing toddlers and little ones kicking off in the background. It's all welcome. It's all good. But you're so right that the sort of different perspectives that you get, you know, and sometimes people tune in from different parts of the world and different cultural perspectives. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Okay, so final question then, as we wrap up. If you wanted to give any kind of tips or advice to anyone who is thinking of joining the program? Maybe they're feeling unsure, or, oh my gosh, how can I do that? I couldn't possibly set up a business. I couldn't possibly get on Instagram, or I couldn't possibly support clients. I can't even figure out my own kids' sleep, or whatever. What would you say to somebody who was kind of where you were 2 years ago?
Firstly, just sort of take that leap. If you believe in yourself, other people will believe in you as well. And that this course, I think it's quite unique in the level of ongoing support it provides. So don't just join for the knowledge, but kind of be an active part of the community as much as you can. Like, doing that has helped me advance my business quicker than I could have done on my own, and helped me grow my confidence much quicker than I could have done without it. And I've again lost my words. There's a lot of kind of courses out there, and I've just really appreciated the structure, the setup, and really that there's all that support out there for whatever stage you're at.
Thank you. Well, we have loved having you and watching you grow and blossom. And just as we come into land, could you just tell people how they can find you if they want to come and hunt you down on socials, or what your website is, all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Bright Little Star Sleep, and my website is www.brightlittlestarsleep.com.
Amazing. Kristina, thank you so much for giving up your very, very valuable time. We wish you so much success in your business, and
thank you so much.
Fingers crossed that one day, like all of us, you will figure out the work-life balance. But until then, thank you so much for joining us. We've loved having you. Thank you for listening, everybody. It's been lovely to chat to Kristina today, and we look forward to connecting with many of you very soon. Take care. Bye for now.